FreeManCast. In Barcelona, Spain, this is Josh Friedman, joined by Dan Reynolds, a very interesting character and very accomplished traveler who's going to be shedding some light for all of us on the ins and outs of budget travel and low-cost international living. I'm going to flip the camera around. Can you briefly introduce yourself to the audience?
So hi, my name's Dan. I'm 24 from England. I'm a traveler, have been on and off traveling for the last 4 or 5 years now. I currently live here in Barcelona, where we are right now. And yeah, so I've been kind of budget traveling on and off. Spent a lot of time in Spain, Portugal and Italy predominantly, and I've also traveled to a few other countries like Kenya and Costa Rica, Turkey, and a few other European cities. And yeah, so I travel. I try to travel as cheaply as possible. When I can travel free, I like to travel free. When I can travel just on a budget, that's what I do. My first ever trip was to Costa Rica, where I traveled for 5 weeks. This was let's say a slight budget travel, but I also did go out and enjoy myself a little bit on this one. It was just my first experience that really kicked off my passion and wanderlust to continue traveling. From there, I come back to England. I saved up a little bit of money. I then wanted to go to completely travel for as long as I could with as little money as possible. So my hope was to travel for 5, 6, 7 years and just experience the world and discover everything possible. So I quit up my job. I got rid of everything I had, and after I got rid of all my bills and I paid off everything and I was free to get started, I was just left with about 300 euros. So at that point I was questioning whether it was possible to continue and still go out and do this travel. In the end, I just decided that I would be able to do it and I would make it work no matter what. So I purchased a ticket. I adventured over to the south of Portugal. The first few nights I stayed at a hostel in the south of Portugal, where I found a workaway position in the south of Italy. From there, I managed to find my way across the border without spending too much money at all, really. I got down to the south through the person that I met in the aeroplane on the way from England to Portugal. He drove me down to the south, right down to the south, where I then managed to just walk across the border to Spain. Actually, they didn't ask for a passport or anything, so I just managed to walk straight across.
The Schengen zone, right?
Something like that. They're supposed to be asking, I guess, but anyway, so I walked across. I got to the workaway, and from there on, I'll just explain what workaway is. Workaway is basically where you volunteer your time in exchange for somewhere to sleep and sometimes somewhere to eat as well. You can find this information on workaway.info. So yeah, from there it was a long adventure of workaway volunteering options, where I started for 1-2 months, and then I would find my way across to the next place. Starting in the southwest of Spain, I then managed to get all the way across to Barcelona, where we are now. And in this time, I wanted to make it as cheap as possible. I had about 300 euros, let's say, but I also didn't want to spend any money because I had a long-term plan of traveling for 5, 6, 7 years or more, whatever came. So in order to do this, I used many different options. I used hitchhiking. I used very cheap BlaBlaCar. At the time, it was one of the cheapest things going. And I also used the love of everyday people. And what I found the most successful was the love of everyday people. It seemed to be a little bit more successful than hitchhiking here in Spain. So from that point, I just did lots of different workaway positions. I always searched for the position that included food, so that I didn't have to spend any money on food. I did a mixture of things from bicycle renting to coffee shops, to gardening, lots of different gardening workaway positions, to holiday camps, to quad biking and kayak instructing, everything you can imagine. but I really didn't spend much money. Now, at some point down in the south of Spain, I met some lovely travelers from Germany, and they were going in the same direction of me with their rental car. So we stopped at a beach on the way. We went out, we enjoyed the beach, did a little bit of dancing around and having fun as you do. We come back to the car, we opened up the back of the car, and I couldn't find my backpack, my day pack. I had two. I had the big backpack and the day backpack. My day backpack wasn't there. Now, normally I wouldn't really mind, but at this time it had my passport, my laptop, all my money, and my juggling equipment, and most of my favorite clothes that I wore on a daily basis. So at this point, I really started to think, right, okay, it's time now to just find a way to get my passport, an emergency passport, and go back home. After that, those problems were in my head. After 2 hours, I realized, hey, look, I'm in Spain, I'm in the place I want to be. I haven't got any need to leave right now. I want to see the whole of Spain, so I'll just keep going. So I continued workawaying, I continued finding my way to different locations.
So how much money did you have over how long of a period of time?
So after the money that got stolen and the passport, after everything, I used most of that money that I had, of that 300 of what I had left. I used that to get my passport back, which took a lot of time and money. In the end, it was around about 50 euros over around about 8 months. The numbers are not exact because I never counted it at the time, but that was around about what it was.
So for about 8 months, you lived off about 50 euros?
Around about that, yeah. So that was from workaway and volunteering. But at the same time, I was still going out a lot, I was partying, and at that time I was drinking a lot of beer. But I wasn't spending money on it, and that's the thing. Now,
so how is it that you drink a lot of beer, or
used to drink a lot of beer,
whatever fun that is you like to have at the nighttime?
Okay.
How is it that you do that without spending any money?
Okay, so basically, there's one main way I do that, and it's going to sound a little bit funny to the ears at the start, but actually, the way I did that was very simply going into bars, telling people my story, and because of it being such a cool story, most people wanted to buy me a beer. Now, this was in no way that I wanted to go in to meet people and in exchange for getting a beer, I wanted beer. It was the complete opposite, actually. I knew that in order to meet new people and to have more connections around different parts of the world, beer was actually a really easy way to communicate. Because if we're all sitting there and there's 4 people and there's 3 people with a beer, the one person without the beer is kind of a little bit less connected with them. So by having the beer, you feel a little bit more in sync. I don't really drink beer, I don't like it that much, but I knew that this was one of the best ways in order to meet certain people around when I was traveling. So most of the time I'd go into a bar, I would sit there, I'd have a little chat with the bartender, ask them about what's going on, any events tonight, and at that same time still be making my mind up, kind of pretending that I was going to get a beer, and at the same time trying to make a connection with whoever's standing at the bar drinking. My main aim is to just make friends and meet people and find out about the city, find out different ways how I can travel to the next location. But normally in that 10, 15, 1 hour chat, someone would normally buy a beer and pass me half a beer or something. So not being a huge beer lover, sometimes I gotta be a little bit grateful for the fact that beer has made me meet lots of new people as well. However, there are many other ways that I would suggest are much better ways to meet people, which would be, for example, the place we're in now. We're in Barcelona, right in the center of the city. If I was going to meet people, I would walk around, I would find the people that I feel like I would connect with the most, look at what they're doing, look at their actions, and I would probably just strike a conversation. I would ask them about where they're from. If I heard people speaking in English, I would say, hey, you guys from England? I would spark a conversation. Or I would very simply pretend I was a tourist for 10 minutes and just ask people, hey guys, do you know where the beach is? Boom, you've got a conversation, keep it going, learn about them, connect with them, and you've probably just made yourself a new friend, or you've just found out some information on how you can travel a little bit further, or in the end helping them in some other way.
Do you speak Spanish, by the way?
So I do speak Spanish, yeah. I speak Spanish, Italian, and enough Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese style to get by, with some basics of some others, but not enough to say I speak it. So that being a great way to meet people as well. I used to use an application called HelloTalk, which is basically an exchange of languages where if you're in a certain location, you can look at the people that are closest to you. You can start teaching them English, learn the language that they're learning, and if it goes really well, being careful, meet them up, and you've potentially got a friend that's a local to the location as well. You learn a language, you've connected with a new human being, and you had a really good time and learned a bit about the city. So through these different ways that you can really open up your opportunity to travel further, to get to know people that are not where you are right now, to then be able to ask them about where they are, how to get to where they are, what is the cheapest way, what is the best option, how are there accommodations in this area, do you know anyone that might need someone to volunteer for you, do you need help, do your parents need help, anything possible. I was in the south, I managed to get a whole weekend of bar work, unpaid, but a bed to sleep on, just from juggling bottles outside of their bar. They come and spoke to me and they asked me about what I was doing. I asked them about them and they said, hey, look, we can't pay you, but if you want to do some work, we can give you a bed for the night. That was okay, but I kind of needed food as well. I'm very much about let's try and get some food in order so that I don't have to buy food. So I said, look, if I work really super hard and I get some friendly smiling customers, will you cook for me the evening dinner as well? It usually worked, and in this case, this weekend, I got dinner and a place to stay. So that out of everything, through the workaway, through these applications and everything, I would say that the number one most important thing is just connecting with people, speaking to people, using your body language to just smile at people and try to build this connection. Because most of the time, if you tell people your story, they're more than happy to help out or try to help out in some way. And this, again,
I think that's a little tough for some people to really believe. Why is it that random people all over the world want to hear your story?
Yeah, I think
and does this apply to everyone?
Well, I guess it's hard to say whether it applies to everyone, because I guess everyone's got their own stories. So understanding that each and every one of us, we do have our own story. Whether you've traveled around the world, whether you're trying to travel around the world, it can be anything from just your daily life. If you've got a story to tell someone and you can find a way to connect with that person and understand and just listen to their story, if I listen to the story of each and every one of you, somewhere along the line, we will have something that we can connect with. And you will not connect with everyone. That's the truth in it. You will not connect with anyone. And like everything, it's a numbers game. You will meet 10 people where you have a few smiles, but you don't necessarily connect and would want to spend a lot of time together or travel together or do a sport together. So it is a journey of just finding the people that connect with you and you have something in common. So you use this in order to spark this interest in how you can teach something to them and they can teach something and you can be learners together. So when it comes to everyone, I do believe that everyone, if travel is what you want to do, I believe that everyone does have a story, or at least something that if you want to be traveling, that is a goal and a mission in itself, which if you find the right people that are also interested and appreciate what you want to do, you will find a way to connect with people. But if you look at a place like we're here with 3, 4, or 5 million, however many people there are, there's always going to be someone that you can connect with, and there's always going to be an option for you to build something or learn something or find a way to continue moving forward. There are different ways to travel. You can spend lots of money, do all the adventurous sports every day and see all of the museums. And there's the way of traveling cheap where you're using hitchhiking or volunteering or Airbnbs or blah blah cars, ride sharing, anything that you can use in order to travel. So there are various different ways in how you can meet new people and how you can travel for cheap. I do believe that almost everyone has the opportunity to travel for cheap. You just have to find what works well with you, what you really want, and how far you're willing to go in order to get this. Because you do have to really believe that you can do it, because if you don't believe you can do it, you will always find the comfortable option in everything you do. You'll always seek whatever's comfortable. If you don't have anywhere to stay tonight, you're getting worried, you will always purchase the bed in the hostel. You'll always go for that option, where reality is you just need to work a little bit harder, speak to one more person. There will be someone that can offer you something. And now to another extreme level there, not so extreme level if you know what you're doing, but there were many times in the south of Spain where I managed to put all my bags together and just sleep on the beach. If you're in a warm country and you know where you are and you've really scouted the place out, I don't always suggest this to everyone, but I haven't died yet and I'm still here, and I've managed to put all my bags together a few times, sleep on the beach, have a lovely sleep, woke up in the morning to a lovely sunrise, and carried on my mission. So it depends on how far you're willing to go, but I do feel like everyone has the opportunity to at least do it to some extent. Now, most people watching this are probably interested in traveling, and if you are, then the first thing is just finding where you want to go, how long do you want to go for, what is your why? Why do you want to travel? If you know why you want to travel, you'll always be able to find out the how. So before learning how to travel, I would first, what is my journey? Why do I want to journey? Is it just that I want to learn about myself or learn about people? If you answer one of those questions, you want to learn about people, then already you've found a way to do it, because in order to learn about people, you need to speak to people. That's just one option. If you really go into depth with this, you can find many different routes and where you can go with how to meet new people and how to travel as well.
What is your why?
My why is this world is so enormous and beautiful and big, and I don't want to live just knowing that I've been in one little part of the world, knowing that there are opportunities, whether I'm rich or not rich, to see all of it and at least experience as much of it as possible while I'm still here on the earth, and at the same time inspire other people to really live their lives and see all of this as well. For example, looking back at what my family do, they've spent most of their lives in one location, and they're very happy individuals, but I do know they would love to travel more. And seeing that they are come to this age where, although they still can, they have a lot of strings attached which stop them from traveling as much as what they would still want to right now. So I really looked at everyone around me, my family, my friends, and I realized that I don't want that life where I come to a later point in my life and I regret where I am now and that I should have done this. So I just decided to quit my job, quit everything, and just find a way and just do it, because I knew that there was a way. I did research, I watched videos, I read blogs, I just read everything possible in order to just find the best way to travel. And the best way that I could possibly advise anyone is there will be no book, no YouTube video, nothing will teach you more than just getting your bag and walking tomorrow, trying to find a way, and that will teach you much more than what reading a blog or a video will, because that's their experience. Whatever you read and hear, that's their experience, and you will only be able to connect with it, and they will all in a way where there's always this barrier saying to you that that's them doing it, that's not me, so what will it be like for me? And there will always be some things pop up in your head that say, hey, they did it, but maybe it will be harder for you. So I very simply would just say, go and do it now, don't think about it, don't book your ticket tomorrow, book it now. Or a cheaper way, don't book a ticket, just walk, or find a way to hitchhike on a boat, a shipping container, sleep under the beds in the shipping container, whatever it is. Find a way, there's always a way, no matter what it is. You're not going to die, because at the end of the day, you'll lose all your money like I did in the south of Spain. You just go back home and start working and live your life again. It's not for everyone. That say, if it goes wrong, maybe you realize, hey, look, this is not for me. I don't want to be under this stress. I don't want to be risking myself every day. I just want a nice, simple life. But just understanding that it's not for you is also a really big learning curve as well. So whether you travel or not travel, trying it is a big life lesson. So I would say, even if you don't think like traveling is for you, in some way or another, just try it once, whether it's for a long weekend or a whole month, a workaway position, going to a wildlife sanctuary and helping out and just feeding the animals and learning about something. It will teach you a lot about yourself, whether you're going to end up traveling for 5 years or 10 years, and they will always teach you something.
You mentioned going to a wildlife sanctuary.
Yeah.
So I'm well aware that it seems like a big part of your travels and your international living is your passion for the environment.
100%. I have spent my whole life reading articles about what's happening with the animals in the world. I've watched every documentary that I could possibly find that was free, legally free, right? On the website. Any way I could learn about animals, the biology of them, the behavior of them. I love wolves, so I started studying about all the different wolves and where they are in the world. So animals have always been something to me. I've never been able to stand on an ant. I look at that ant and I remember swearing at my mum quite harshly one day for her killing an ant. And so I have always had this love for animals. And so what I do now is I'm vegan as well. I try every day in some way or another to help the animals in the way of where I respect them, I treat them well, I educate people about them, where they are, what's going on with them, who they're becoming extinct or are they endangered to becoming that. If there's wildlife sanctuaries or anything in the world that are supporting these to try and give them back their habitat so that they can live their life peacefully themselves, I find ways to promote this in any way possible. I clean the beaches, I pick up the plastic every day. In the bag, which is under what we're filming on right now, has half a bag of plastic. I'm going to fill that up by the end of the day, because plastic and pollution, that's a big part of not just the animals, but the whole planet that we're living on. So that's a huge part of what I believe in. So animals to me is just as big of a motivator to travel, because without traveling I can only see a certain part of the world and a certain majority of the animals that are in each location. So animals to me they're everything, yeah.
You and I are quite different on that topic, which is interesting. We'll circle back to it in a minute, but I'm not much of an environmentalist and I'm definitely not a vegan. However, I can really relate to your passion for the environment and animals and how you incorporate that into your travels. So with me, I'm pretty passionate about geopolitics.
Yeah.
And so much of my travel schedule year-round relates to geopolitical events going on in this place and that place. So the question is for you, how important is it that you have some passion on top of travel that you can work into your travels, and does it give your travel some extra significance, and does it give you extra motivation to keep going?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, entirely. I would say that it's very much, let's say, if you do not have a passion, you will always find a way of becoming comfortable, like I mentioned just previously. Because what a passion does, and usually a passion is hard to accomplish. Usually this passion, it has an end goal, or it has a journey, and usually it's not something that it's super easy to continue and do and live every day. What I mean by this is, if you've got a passion, it's sort of like a fire on the inside of you that's lighting your path a little bit more, and the less of the passion you have, the less that you can see. And with this passion, it pretty much just pushes you in that direction. You remember why you're traveling. I'm cleaning the beaches. I want a greener world. I want a bluer ocean. I've got something I'm focused on. If I let go of that passion, you almost just question, what are you doing it for? And this can be anything. A passion can be anything from just this love of meeting new people, the passion that I really just want to meet everyone. I want to learn every language in the world. I want to save every animal in the world. I want to explore every single country. It can be anything. It can be a numbers game. I want to have been standing in every single country in the world. Whatever it is for you, everyone's passion and goals are different. But I believe with the passion, if I wasn't passionate about what I'm doing, I don't feel like I would have done any of this. I would have never got past the things I've lost. There have been many times. I bought a skateboard one time that cost me I can't remember now, 150 euros or something. Quite crazy, quite a lot of money. I lost it 2 days later. Now, these little things, if you don't have a passion that's telling you that there's something that you're fighting for and you're going towards, you'll give up. I would have lost my bag when I was in the south of Spain. I would have gave up. I would have gone back home, but I had a passion. My passion was that I needed to keep going. My passion was traveling and experiencing the world and discovering everything. My passion was that I really needed to just keep going, no matter what barriers that come in your way. You've got to keep that one thing in your mind. You've got to keep that goal, that's that fire that's burning on the inside. Keep it alight. Keep it alight, because the fire that's lighting your path it needs to be fed. You need to remember what your passion is every day in order to get further. So long-term travel, I believe, if you don't have a passion, you probably won't make it far, and you might make it on a worldwide trip and see every country really quickly, but long term you're going to have all of the barriers, all of the things that hit you and make it hard. Traveling will never get easier, really. You'll then start to miss home more. You will start to feel like you need to travel more. There will be so many things so many questions you ask yourself about, should I be at home earning money? Should I be doing this? There will be so many barriers, but if you've got a passion that's driving you, that will be higher, and that will be stronger than all of these things that are hitting you. Because no matter what, I'm going to keep traveling. I'm going to keep going on now for the next 5, 10, 15, 20. I probably will travel now until I travel all the way into my coffin or the sea or wherever I end up going. I do believe that I will continue traveling, but I need a passion for it. Without a passion or a purpose, what will I be going for? Will it just be for just no reason? Going somewhere for no reason, I find is hard to maintain. Passion to me is everything. Passion is great. Yeah, be passionate about it.
I said we would return to the topic of environmentalism and I guess veganism because over the last week or so, actually for me it was 8 days.
Yeah.
I was traveling in a group in which I was the only non-vegan.
Yeah.
And this is actually how we met each other. You want to tell this story?
Yeah. So I'm a manager at a few hostels here in Barcelona, and I was covering a night shift, and we had one more check-in, and this check-in arrived, and I looked at the camera, and there was these.
You looked at the camera.
I looked at the camera as they were walking in. There was 8 people walking in, and I was thinking, oh gosh, it's now quiet time. Everyone's sleeping. I'll see where this goes. They got a camera on. They're all moving around. I was like, this is going to be a lively.
I wasn't sure which camera you were talking about when you said you looked at the camera.
No. And you all walked through the door, and the energy that walked through the door, first of all, was just incredible. I almost threw away every policy that was going on in the hostel because I knew that you guys were going to be an interesting bunch. There was a camera. You guys were moving around with this camera, jumping around, speaking different languages, and just sitting down, and almost just shouting different quotes and philosophical things around the world. And I was thinking, right, this is going to be an interesting one. And from that moment, realizing that pretty much all of them, apart from yourself, were vegan, and all of them, apart from yourself, were vegan, which is interesting. We connected immediately with that. We're all travelers. We believe in these different things together. So immediately when you guys walked in, it was incredible. I knew that it was going to be, I had to spend more time with you over the next few days. So you all told me about this elevation tour that you had going on. So I managed to find a way that I freed up some time to get with you guys to listen to what you were all talking about, your different presentations. And yeah, we spent time, we cleaned the beach together. We went down the beach with the Pure Clean Earth to clean all of the plastic for a day. We went to a restaurant or had a meal together. And yeah, it was an incredible experience. And some of these 8 people, all of these 8 people plus a few more that were not in the group at the hostel, have been some of the most lovely people I've ever met in my life. Now, without traveling, I would have never met them. So I'm so grateful for being in that position, covering that. And as we were all saying, it was meant to be. There was something that was about that. It was supposed to happen. You know, we learned so much from one another. We shared so many smiles, and there was tears going on. And it was a very, a ball of energy and wonderful experiences in just a few days. And I believe that's travel. That happens all the time when you travel. So it was an interesting one meeting you guys.
That first night when we rolled in, I don't remember what hour it was, 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone went to bed, and I wasn't expecting anything, but I think I talked to you until about 5 a.m. or something.
Yeah.
And on the surface, you and I had the least to connect on, but below the surface, you and I, of course, had something to connect on, and we're continuing that conversation right now.
100%. I mean, you could, like you say, we weren't connected on the name tags that we were all following, these kind of philosophies that we had in the way of our life, but we were both human beings that have this this desire to explore the world and learn about the world and how it is for each and every other person. So we spoke for hours and hours and hours, where I should have been probably cleaning up some more washing. I did finish it all in the end, but it definitely had an active last hour of clearing up. But we spoke down and sat for a few hours and talked about their adventures that we've both been on and how we were traveling and how we made it possible and what we've learned. And yeah, it was a long conversation, but an incredible way to connect. And this, what we're doing right now, how we're talking now, it all came from both of us traveling. You know, if we weren't all traveling and doing these adventurous things, we would have never been sitting here now and recording this, telling everyone else how we met. You know, so that's a wonderful thing. You know?
I can second that, and I can also second the comment you made a little while ago about how you're not going to learn how to travel the world, and specifically how to do it on a budget and in a purposeful manner, if you're just sitting around reading books and, dare I say, listening or watching the podcasts.
Yes.
If, from my perspective, if you have a need to go travel, I would pause this video and go do it.
And go.
At the cost of me getting more YouTube watch time or whatever.
Exactly.
So I actually have a phrase that I used in both of my talks that I gave on Elevation Tour, and it's just 2 words: just go.
Just go. I like it. That's really nice, man. I completely agree. Now, I have watched more hours of YouTube videos than I could ever imagine, and wouldn't want to really look at how many hours I spent. And what I would say, the good thing about having the internet and having these options of videos and podcasts is that going back to passion, it almost gives you and builds a little bit more on your passion. You see an adventurous video about how someone traveled the world with no money, or how they did every surfing spot around the world, and all of these things. What it does, it just lights your fire a little bit more. It kind of gives you that energy and say, hey, look, I can do it. And you're like, yeah, I believe I can do it as well. I can do it. But what you need to do is when you're at that top of that point, when you're at that peak where all of this energy is building up, don't continue watching. You don't need any more. You realize what you want to do. You've discovered it. The more videos you watch, you're bound to jump on a video that tells you why traveling is the worst thing, or you'll find something that questions what you've already watched. And from there, you'll be always watching videos and be like, yeah, I watch videos all the time about traveling. 2 years later, you have watched every video in the world about traveling, where you could have been for 2 years traveling. So I'd say use the videos, use the podcast, watch them a little bit, get the motivation you need, find what is why you want to do it, and just go. Don't waste time. You will always find a way to make it work. I say this as well when people are looking for jobs. Don't start looking for jobs and seeing what you want to do. Quit your job first, and you will have this survival instinct that you need to find a job, and you will find it within a few days. Think about this before you go and do it and sum everything up. But I always say this: if you want to do it, do it. Your survival, your instincts, everything will kick in and help you find the right way, because you're not going to die. The realistic part of it is you will end up finding a way back to your house, and you'll find the comfort if you really need to. But putting yourself in a position where the only way you can get over that barrier is to jump, and you will always find somewhere to land on the process. So just go is great. I might make it, put it on a hat or something. That's I would just say go. Yeah, you've got to do it, and that's the most important part of it. Is if you really do want to travel, just go. You've got to try it. You've got to try it at least once. Yeah.
Speaking of, so we get a little rain here in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Speaking of inspiration, I don't know when, but I'm sure you'll be hitting the road in the future, maybe the not too distant future, because you clearly have more travel plans. You're not done traveling. So,
I'm not done traveling.
So what do you have as a vision for your future travels?
So my future travels, whenever they be, my next journey will definitely be continuing the beach cleanups that I've got going on right now. So I clean up the beaches every Sunday and every day. Like I said, I got a plastic bag with me now. So this is not just focusing on plastic. This is a bigger picture. I want to get this movement where people are more conscious about the things we're doing and the actions we're doing on a daily basis. But I want to take this, use this kind of this awareness and the influence that I build in this location, and I want to take it to other locations where it's a little bit of a bigger situation, a bigger problem, and find ways in where I can use all of this energy and eyes to put all this attention on these different locations. So, to cut it down short, I want to travel to lots of different countries and cities, clean up some of their beaches, their cities, educate about how to reuse, how to reduce, how to recycle, plastic specifically, and at the same time, try different workaway experiences, educate people through English. I can teach them English, and through this education I can also teach them about the environment, about the animals, and how they can make interesting and impactful choices in the future. So my journey, although I will be searching to surf some beaches and relax on some islands if I get the chance, but my main drive will be this planet, as we all know, all we have to do is look on the internet, is getting destroyed bit by bit, and I do believe that if we're living on this planet, whether the world is going to regenerate and do its own thing and kick us off the planet eventually, whether that's in the future and that's going to happen, I don't know. All I know is I've got it right now, and if I want my children to be brought into this world, one, I want them to know that they had a dad that really cared and tried to save it, and two, I believe that if I have two people from the beginning, I could create two lovely earthlings that really care about and can preserve this world for as long as we can do it. Because I think that this world is so beautiful and there's so many interesting human beings and animals and things to see on it that we should be looking after it. So I think my next trip will be 2 or 3 years around Asia and Australia and these places, and from there on, I mean, I'm talking now 2 or 3 years. Next week, who knows what's going to happen. I do so many crazy things on a weekly basis. But my long-term plan is just to keep traveling around the whole world until I've seen it all. And as we all know, you can't see it all. So that's my long-term travel plan. The environment being my number one passion, but just seeing it and enjoying every moment as a personal perspective. I just want to experience and see everything, and experience as much as possible for me, so that I can show everyone else how they can also experience it as well. Because the world's wonderful. Love it.
Where can people follow your journey?
So mainly I work on Instagram, so I put a lot of it on plant-powered travel. You can follow my beach cleanups and see where we go in the future, and that is through Pure Clean Earth. And again on Facebook and eventually YouTube. I'm going to start putting all this on YouTube as I get some more time liberated. But yeah, mainly on Instagram. There's a blog which is plantpoweredtravel.wordpress.com. But yeah, mainly Instagram at the moment is where I'm based.
And you have some travel tips on that blog, right?
Yeah. So I've got actually a lot of what we spoke about. One of my recent blogs is how to meet people when traveling. So a little bit on what we spoke about. I kind of go into detail on all the different options that there are, and how some of my favorite experiences and how I did it all over on the blog. So feel free to check it out. Maybe it helps you.
We'll include that link in the description.
Cool. Thank you.
You've got a lot of very useful, practical advice for travelers, especially people who are just getting started.
Yeah, I think the really important thing is to realize that I'm still learning. I'm not an expert. There's no expert travelers really, because we are constantly learning and different situations. The world is changing. So if anything I could say from this is I'm not special. I'm not different to anyone really. I mean, we're all different. I'm not different or have any more capabilities than anyone. I'm just going out there and doing it. I'm learning on the way. I haven't mastered anything yet, and tomorrow I will learn a new way to do it. But the difference is if we all share our experiences and our learnings around the world, then we all have this option to see how other people have done it, and we can use that to think how can I do it, and how can I use some of these learnings and teachings in my own journey. So yeah, feel free to follow all this, but realize that the most important part is just find your own way and do it yourself, because you will teach yourself so many more things than what I will. Even if you think that all these teachings are coming from me, most of the time it's coming from yourself.
I was going to ask you for your final thoughts, but I think you just summed it up very nicely.
I guess so. I think just go.
There, you heard it. Just go.
Just go.
All right,
hashtag trending.
Please, you're much more capable of social media presence and getting the word out than I am. Anyway, I hope to be connecting with you in the near future.
Oh,
Who
man,
knows
yeah.
where in the world, but things just tend to work out that way. So
we'll meet again.
Let's plan on that happening.
Like I always say to everyone, there's no goodbye, just I'll see you later. Because the more people you meet, the more you connect, you're more likely to end up in the same location through the things you want to be doing together. So, yeah,
All right,
see you next time.
On that note, thank you very much, Dan, and see you sometime,
Thank you very much.
somewhere.
Thank you. Thanks for watching, guys.